Hello, fellow preppers. 'Tis I, the rumpled one. I was having a conversation on the phone with my good buddy Ralph today. He's the one that got me started in being a survivalist way back in the 80s. Anyhow, we talked about a bunch of different things. And Ralph, one of the reasons I like talking with my friend Ralph is he can see clearly on a lot of things, and he can see right through all the BS. So I told him about the shenanigans that are going on in Facebook with these prepper groups. And he told me that no matter what you do, chances are somebody's going to be pissed off about it. So don't even worry about it. And he's right. I mean, I've experienced that a lot in my life. No matter what I do, somebody seems to take exception with it. Doesn't matter if it's how high I let my grass get in the front yard, how loud I play my music, what kind of clothes I wear, what kind of car I drive. Somebody always seems to be upset with it. And my friend Ralph says you got two choices. You can just either be aggressive or you can be a pussy. Not a pussy cat like you, Cat One. But anyway, he says that, that's just the way it is. And then he made another point. He says that the more people, the more rules, less freedom. And I said, yeah. Ralph, you're right. I remember way back in junior high school where if somebody did something wrong in class, a lot of times the whole class got punished. Or just because one person did something stupid and they just ruined it for everybody else. So they say. They being those in authority. But no, it just gives those in authority an excuse to do what they probably wanted to do in the first place, which is restrict your freedom and my freedom too. But because that's what those in authority do best. I told my friend Ralph, he said, well, part of the problem is that if you use the name of a county and say the X county preppers, then and you start this group, it seems to me that if you want to run it with an iron fist and dictate all the rules and tell everybody how it's going to be, then it should be your name preppers group, not X County preppers group. Then it'd be kind of clear and it'd be understood that you're the one calling all the shots and your word is law. Cat One, you need to quit that. She's just a little diva. Just loves to get in the movies nowadays. Anyway, that was one thing. But he really is right about, we got so many people in America now that they're just constantly restricting our freedoms. Everywhere you go. Another thing my friend Ralph says, like I said, this is why I love the guy. He said if it's easy to make money or quick to make money off of it, then either it's illegal or you're going to need a license and pay a tax on it, or somebody else has already thought of it. Once again, there's a lot of truth in that. Every now and then something new will come along, but like a Facebook, and you can see what they're doing with that, already restricting it. The government will probably be able to shut it down because they won't be able to shut down the internet, because they wouldn't want a bunch of prepper groups getting together and say, you know what, we're tired of this mess. Or like all the hunters there are. I guess the hunters in the U.S., if you combine them together, they are the largest standing army in the world. Did you know that, Cat One? You better watch out for those hunters, huh? You diva. Gee, I tell you. Anyway, but that's something to think about. And that Second Amendment, if you go back and you look at history, just about every able-bodied man with a musket was part of the militia because they were protecting the homeland. But see, now that we have a standing army, I guess we the people don't need that kind of firepower. But the reality is, we all know the border to the south is a sieve. It's not being protected. I like that one picture of Clint Eastwood. I think it's out of that movie Gran Torino, standing there with Mr. Remington. You know, get off my yard. That's what we need to do. Jan Brewer, you ought to grow a pair. Tell Obama to kiss him, and call for all your citizens to join you at the border and just make sure nobody comes across it illegally. I'd love to see that standoff. Basically, Jan Brewer, Governor Brewer, you hold all the cards. You can force Obama, because what's he going to do? Send out troops to attack citizens and your troops because you're defending our border? I don't think so. And there's another thing my friend Ralph and I discussed, the fiscal cliff. He's saying that Obama really holds all the cards. All they have to do is come up with a plan that says, hey, look, middle class, we're going to give you a tax break. But those Republicans, they're voting against it. They're holding up the show. What's going to happen in a couple years? Probably Democrats will vote some Republicans out of House seats. Maybe the Democrats, or socialists is what they really should be called, will just take over this country. That's what it's coming down to. He says there's no reason for them to avoid the fiscal cliff. If anything, they need to push it over. He said they need to borrow more money, create more debt. He was joking, but only half joking, because there's a lot of truth. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a joke. It wouldn't be funny. Even though the reality is it's sad what they've done to our country. And it's sad that we the people have allowed them to do it. Don't really know what the answer is, because as my friend Ralph pointed out, if you really try and fight the government, they're just going to make you look like a crazy. Branch Davidians, Waco, Ruby Ridge. It's we the people to be free, to actually take our freedom. I don't think it's going to happen, because number one, we can't seem to get together. I mean, if we can't even, as fellow preppers, can't even get together, we're going to fight and feud on Facebook. It's just total nonsense. How are we going to get together and fight the government? We're not. I think the government knows that. They're going to keep those issues out there in the forefront to keep us divided, so we'll never, ever focus on freedom and liberty. But that's not something most people want. It's obvious, even fellow preppers, that there's some preppers out there that they don't want your freedom. They want their freedom, but not yours. You know, if you join up, then you've got to follow their law. You got to go by their rules. And I found out, I said the reason that I was banned from their group wasn't because I posted about a meeting, which I gotten permission from the admin to do. It was basically because I had spoken out in public on the page about the policy that I didn't disagree with. And then in the PMs, I said, well, you know, is this a cult? Are you a dictator? Are you ruling this with an iron fist? And, you know, he didn't like that. I was flicking him stuff, as he put it. But that really isn't the case. That's not what I was doing. I was just basically calling him out, saying, hey, you know. But when he came back with that response that it was, you know, he said my group, meaning it was his group, it was obvious to me that he was a dictator. And once again, if he would have said, you know, this is my prepper group rather than the ex-county prepper group, it would have been well understood that it was his group. But it's like the group I started. It's not my group. I started it. It's our group. Everybody who joins gets a say. I mean, the whole point is to meet like-minded people and to disseminate information, exchange ideas, give each other tips, teach each other. I mean, don't need anybody to rule with an iron fist in that. You know, maybe he's really starting up his own little militia. Maybe that's his ulterior motive, because I can't see any other reason why he would want to rule with such an iron fist. But that's just my opinion. Okay, this video's probably into the boring zone by now. But anyway, thanks for watching. Appreciate you guys listening. Love the replies and the encouragement. I really do appreciate it. Thanks. And if you haven't, feel free to subscribe. And remember, I don't respond to every reply, but I pretty much read them all. And I really do appreciate when people suggest things that I read or movies that I watch, because that's how I learn. That's how I get exposed to new things. Because even though I try to look at lots of different things, there's a lot of things I miss because I just don't know they exist. So anyway, thanks again, and remember, fellow preppers, if you fail to prepare today, then you're preparing to fail tomorrow.